Hi there, this is Tin Kim Lam with I'm Not the Nanny, and I'm back today to tell you more about noodles. So noodles are common in almost any cuisine, but in Vietnamese culture, we love our noodles. We have so many different kinds, and they really are all have the same, we call them all bún for noodles. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the ones that I use the most that you should have in your pantry. First are the they're called vermicelli rice stick. So basically it's just rice noodles, and these are what you would see in cold noodle dishes. Bún thịt nướng, bún chả giò. So bún just means noodles, all right? And these are I think these are considered the large size. And there's also similar ones like this that are made with tapioca, so they're a little chewier when you cook them. All right, so this is what they look like. My kids actually like chewing on these dry. And what you do with almost every kind of noodle that you cook in Vietnamese cooking is that you boil it just like you do pasta, and you cook it probably slightly over al dente, and then we dump it in a colander and rinse it with cold water to rinse off all the starches and to stop the cooking process. And actually makes it less sticky. I know pasta you want sticky because you want to absorb the sauce, but for Vietnamese cooking we rinse off all our noodles. So those are vermicelli rice noodles. Next up is pho. So pho is a totally different kind of noodle, okay? And they actually come in different sizes too. This is the medium size, and they come in packs like this. And you can buy, if you find a good Asian mart, you can find them fresh, which are nice. And you can freeze those. I just buy the dried kind because it's easier to keep. So they're flat noodles. Let's see if you can see this. They're flat noodles, and they're pretty stiff. So these cook a little bit differently because they're going into a hot, yummy, fragrant, beef broth for the pho. So how we fix, we call these bánh pho. So bánh is another word for like bread, dough, and these are made out of rice as well. Is that you soak them in a warm bowl of water for about 15-20 minutes, and then we drain it, and then they're kind of cooked again in a simmering pot of water. Add it to a bowl, and then the broth is poured over it. So it continues to cook in the broth. So you don't want it to be too overcooked, because once it sits in that yummy hot broth, it's gonna get too gummy, and that's not good. All right, so that's for pho. You can also use this for some Thai dishes. I think pad Thai uses a similar noodle, and you can find something like this at your regular grocery store, and it probably has a Thai label like pad Thai noodles or something like that. So very similar. When I'm in a bind or I'm in a small town and I can't find what I want, that's what I'll use. I'll use the Thai version. Okay, another one that I use a lot, and usually not on its own, but mixed with other things, is what we call bean thread. So these are really thin noodles that are made with beans. And see, they're really delicate, so they're very tiny, and they're chewy. Okay, so they're chewy. And you might hear them called as cellophane noodles. So when you cook them, they're gonna get really clear. But the way my mom has always used them is that we soak this in hot water until they get soft and fall apart, and then she takes scissors and she'll cut them into small pieces and mix them. So they're added to ground pork and wood ear mushrooms, chopped up wood ear mushrooms for the stuffing, the filling for egg rolls, meatballs. She uses the same kind of stuffing to stuff bell peppers. So it's a nice filler for any kind of meat stuffing that you want to make, so that it gives a little texture to it. And I know that the first time my husband ever ate my mom's egg rolls with those in it, he goes, "What are these little white things?" And my mother-in-law said they look like worms, but that's not goodies, right? So we have bean thread, bánh pho noodles, and the one that I use the most is these vermicelli noodles. And these come in a bunch of different sizes. It doesn't matter what you use as long as you're okay with it. I wouldn't use anything too small because they cook too fast. And sometimes I'm busy and I don't catch it and they overcook, and there's nothing worse than rushing for dinner and then having overcooked gummy noodles. I always buy the medium or large size. And for me, it doesn't matter what brand you buy, they're pretty much all the same. All right. So those are the basic noodles that you should keep in your Vietnamese pantry so that you can whip up a Vietnamese dish anytime you want. All right, come back again soon and I'll tell you more about what you can add to your Vietnamese pantry.